Born in 1894 in the Epworth community of Greenwood County to parents who were former slaves, Benjamin Elijah Mays, or Benny as he was called, was the youngest of 8 children. Young Mays grew up in the post-Reconstruction South when hostility towards African Americans was commonplace and the prevailing culture still sought to relegate them to the lowest social and economic strata. In seeming defiance of these constrictions, Benjamin Mays developed a passion for education and strove to debunk the stereotypes placed upon him simply because of his skin color and social circumstances. He also honed an ingrained love of religion and made it the foundation of his relentless pursuit of personal excellence. A model student, he was given an opportunity to attend high school at South Carolina State College, from which he graduated with all A's. In spite of his stellar academic record, Mays was rejected by over 20 colleges before finally deciding to attend Virginia Union. From there, he applied and was accepted to Bates College in Maine. The northern states were more open to accepting blacks into traditionally segregated institutions, and Mays felt that he was more accepted as an equal to his white counterparts. Mays excelled at Bates and graduated with honors in 1920. Benjamin Mays moved to Chicago with plans to continue his educational journey, but soon accepted a teaching position at Morehouse College in Atlanta, then a struggling single-gender college for African American men. He returned to Chicago after the death of his first wife to continue his studies and received his Master's of Arts degree in 1925. In 1934, Mays became Dean of the Howard University School of Religion. During this time, he completed his next level of study and earned his Doctorate of Philosophy in Religion in 1935. In 1940, his stature in the African American education community led him to being selected as the president of Morehouse College. This is where his legacy of influence truly began. Before assuming the presidency of Morehouse, Dr. Mays traveled to India to meet with Mahatma Gandhi, with their ensuing discussions moving him to embrace the concept of nonviolent protest as a strategy for the fledgling civil rights movement in the United States. At Morehouse, Dr. Mays shared this philosophy with a number of his students, including Maynard Jackson, Julian Bond, and most notably, Martin Luther King Jr., who was so inspired by the tutelage of Dr. Mays that he decided against pursuing a career in law and chose the ministry instead. During his tenure at Morehouse, Dr. Mays' advice and counsel was frequently sought on matters of civil rights, integration, and improving race relations by political leaders, including 3 United States presidents. John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, and Jimmy Carter all counted Dr. Mays among their most knowledgeable and informed advisors. President Kennedy regarded Dr. Mays so highly that he selected him to be the official United States emissary at the funeral of Pope Paul XXII. A prolific writer, Dr. Mays penned 9 books and thousands of articles during his storied career. Most notable among his writings is his autobiography, Born to Rebel, which has been reprinted several times since its original publication. In August 2018, Dr. Mays' literary achievements were recognized by the South Carolina State Library, the South Carolina Academy of Authors, and the Friends of South Carolina Libraries, which designated the Dr. Benjamin E. Mays Historical Site as only the 3rd literary landmark in South Carolina, an honor shared with South Carolina authors James Dickey and Pat Conroy. In the late 1970s, due to the diligence and determination of several Greenwood County civic and political leaders, Dr. Mays finally began to be recognized and honored as a native son. Then Congressman Brian Dorn led an effort to have an historic marker placed at the site of Dr. Mays' childhood home, a nondescript, weathered plank siding cabin that for decades sat unattended and empty on the side of Highway 178 in southern Greenwood County. Through the perseverance of Dr. Joseph Patton, former executive director of the Gleams Human Resources Commission, Dr. Mays' birth home was purchased and relocated to its current secure location on the Gleams campus. This unassuming cabin became the first piece of an expanding historical site that now includes a museum housing many of Dr. Mays' writings and personal artifacts, recordings of many of his speeches, and countless photographs detailing his remarkable life. Also located on the site is an old schoolhouse, similar to one that Dr. Mays attended as a young boy. Plans are currently in the works to add an auditorium at the site that will mimic the look of the old Mount Zion Baptist Church, which Mays attended as a child in Greenwood County. In 2016, the Greenwood County Community Foundation partnered with the Gleams Dr. Benjamin E. Mays Historical Site to create an endowed fund that will provide a permanent, growing revenue source to operate, maintain, and expand the site. Also, as the fund grows, a scholarship component will be included that will be made available to high school seniors from across the country who exhibit the potential and determination to make a positive difference in their chosen fields of study. The Greenwood County Community Foundation and Gleams Human Resources Commission are united in their commitment to this endeavor and feel it is critical that the Benjamin E. Mays Endowment receive broad financial support. The preservation of Dr. Mays' history and the advancement of his philosophy of individual excellence, personal responsibility, and integrity are of paramount importance, especially in today's turbulent environment. And we're not alone.
The legacy of Dr. Mays is important because Dr. Mays' life touched so many critical periods in our life, in the history of our country, as Dr. Mays attempted to end racial segregation and discrimination in our country. It was one of his great passions and something he felt called to do. And the legacy that Dr. Mays left with this army of young men that he created that really changed the trajectory of American society through the work that they did in what became known as the Civil Rights Movement. Dr. Mays created all the intellectual developments that led to the Civil Rights Movement, and because of that he's known as the principal founder of the Civil Rights Movement. But Mays' legacy is just a tremendous one, and it's one that we should all study and understand when we understand race relations and improving race relations in American society.
We invite you to be a part of the continuing legacy of Dr. Benjamin E. Mays. Your tax-deductible contribution can be made conveniently by visiting our website, www.greenwoodcf.org, and clicking on the Contribute tab. You will find the Benjamin E. Mays Endowment listed under Initiatives. If you prefer, you may send a check payable to the Greenwood County Community Foundation or contact the Community Foundation directly, and they will gladly assist in making your gift, provide additional information about the Benjamin E. Mays Endowment, or discuss ways to include the endowment in your estate planning. Dr. Benjamin E. Mays stands tall in our country's history as an educator, mentor, and trailblazing leader of the civil rights movement in America. Your contribution can ensure that his legacy is never forgotten and his memory endures forever.